Welcome. From this session, we are entering the domain of Ganita Upsutras. Ganita Upsutras are of distinct domain. The mathematical domain of Ganita Upsutras is independent mathematical domain. Ganita Sutras and Ganita Upsutras are complementary and supplementary of each other, but the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras has its independent domain, and Ganita Sutras mathematical domain as well is a distinct mathematical domain. First of all, we have to appreciate the distinguishing features of the mathematical domains of Ganita Sutras and Ganita Upsutras. This reach, this visit, this comprehension, this insight, in a way, is the foundational step for us. Now, when from today we are entering upon the mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras, then we have to concentrate upon the text of Ganita Sutras. We have to accept, we have to proceed further, we have to presume, we have to start with the basic acceptance as that the text of Ganita Sutras is a complete scripture in itself. Once we are accepting Ganita Upsutras text as a complete scripture in itself, then naturally we have to have a visit to this text as self-contained, self-sustained, and self-evolving text. Once it is a self-contained, self-sustained, and self-unfolding text, so from its first letter to its last letter, we have to have a single binding thread running through the entire text. This text is a text of 236 letters in all. Of these 236 letters, 36 of them are the distinct letters. The other feature which we have to simultaneously consider is that this text of Ganita Sutras is complementary and supplementary of the text of Ganita Sutras. There are 16 sutras and there are 13 sutras. These 16 sutras and 13 sutras together make one integrated text. This integrated text of Ganita Sutras and Ganita Upsutras makes the text of Vedic mathematics. When we pose to ourselves as to what is the text of Vedic mathematics, then we have to accept as that Ganita Sutras and Ganita Sutras together make the text of Vedic mathematics. 16 sutras text is the text of 283 letters. Ganita Upsutras text is the text of 236 letters. In all, there are 519 letters. Therefore, the Vedic mathematical domain is the range of these 519 letters. The independent organization of Ganita Sutra as a complete scripture in itself takes us from first letter of Ganita Sutra to the last letter of the Ganita Sutra text. makes a range of 283 parallel with 283 of the text. Likewise, Ganita Upsutras text of the range of 236 letters, and the first letter of the text of Ganita Upsutras and the last letter of the text of Ganita Upsutras an independent range of the mathematical domain of Ganita Upsutras. However, the integrated mathematical domain, which is going to be of as many as 519 steps, well, with the total 519 letters of the entire text of sutras. Therefore, we have to have a pause here and have to revisit as to how precisely the integrated organized. The organization of the integrated format of 16 sutras, 13 of sutras is tabulated, and this tabulation is on the computer screen in the red color or the places of the sutras, and in blue color the places is of without sutras. These sutras and sutras are arranged in such a way that the gaps between consecutive sutras is bridged by the Ganita Sutras. The gap between Ganita Sutra 1 and Ganita Sutra 2 is bridged by Ganita Sutra 1. This sequence of bridging of the gaps of the consecutive mathematical domains of the sutras in terms of the mathematical domains of Ganita Sutras is as that the first seven sutras and first seven sutras are marking their presence in the integrated format as that Ganita Sutra 1 is followed by Ganita Sutra 1, Ganita Sutra 2 is followed by Ganita Sutra 2. Like that, we reach at the seventh step as that Ganita Sutra 7 is followed by Ganita Sutra 7. Then, the Sutras 8 and Sutra 9 are not requiring any external bridging. The first reason is that the text Ganita Sutra 8 and Ganita Sutra 9 are of 16 letters each. Ganita Sutra 1 is 16 letters, and like that, Ganita Sutras 8 and 9 as well of 16 letters each. The value 16 is of unique features as much as that 2 raised to power 4 and 4 raised to power 2 make pairing for index and base values. And it is because of this feature that there remains automatic bridging set up for sutras 8 and 9, and as such there is no requirement of bridging. We will coming to this, as this is one of the basic of the integrated format of the sutras and sutras together, making a complete for the entire mathematical domain of Vedic mathematics. Therefore, the Sutra 9 will be followed by Ganita Sutra. Ganita Sutra 10 will be followed by Ganita Sutra 9. This sequence will continue Sutra 14, which will be followed by Sutra 13. Sutras 15 and 16 well is a pair of sutras which are of texts of 16 letters each. Like Sutras 8 and 9 being of 16 letters each, Sutras 15 and 16 as well, or the sutras or the text of 16 letters each. As the specific features of value 16 playing their role for the mathematical domains of sutras 8 and 9. The same feature is also available for the text of Sutra 15 and 16. The gaps between Sutras 8 and 9 and between Sutra 15 and 16 are not requiring any external bridging. Therefore, the first feature of the integrated format of the text of Sutras and Upsutras is that value 16 is of such features and is of such values that same have to be recognized, same have to be imbibed, same have to be appreciated, and to have further insight about the special features of value 16. Let us arrange numbers 1 to 16 and then let us meet at the factors of numbers 1 to 16. It will be blissful to take note that numbers 1 to 16 lead to 29 factors. Value 29 is the value which accepts an organization 16 plus 30, and it is this feature which will also help us appreciate as to the organization of 16 sutras and 13 of sutras. Numbers value 16 as numbers range 1 to 16 on the one hand, and numbers values 1 to 13 when are approached for their integrated organization, then we observe as that values 1 to 16 are leading to factors 1 to 29. This range of 29 factors for numbers range 1 to 16 provides us proper lead for the integrated format for the Ganita Sutras and Ganita Upsutras. Numbers values 1 to 16 lead to factors 1 to 29, and it is this internal organization of value 16 which helps us appreciate as to how the texts of Ganita Sutras permit integrated formation. Now, the another feature which deserves to be appreciated here is that if we organize the double-digit numbers of 10 place value system, then it comes to light as that these 99 double-digit numbers of 10-place value system accommodated along 9 level grid. If we organize 99 double-digit numbers of 10-place value system along 9 cross 11 grid as 9 columns and 11 rows, then we will be face to face with the structural features of this organization. The structurally such arrangement is bringing us face to face with the emergence of the mirrors in this format. The values 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 makes a mirror line. It is a mirror line as that the values above this line constitute reflection pairs and values below this line as well get organized as a reflection. It is this distinctive demarcation of the grid on both sides of this line is a split of the organization deserves to be comprehended well. The numbers above this mirror line of 10, 20, 30, 40, 90 is designated as the upper part, and the numbers below this mirror line are designated as the lower part. Let us concentrate upon the upper part only. The numbers of the upper part are of such distinctive organization feature as that the numbers 11, 22, 33, and 44 as well constitute a mirror line for the upper part. This mirror line is making numbers above this mirror line of 11, 22, 33, and 44 as reflection pairs for the numbers below this mirror line and above the mirror line 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. The mirror line 11, 22, 33, and 44 is of such unique placement as that here the numbers 11, 22, 33, and 44 are availing same digit both places. Double digit numbers 11, 22, 33, and 44 are of unique feature as that these quadruple double digit numbers are having same digit for both placements. Double digit number 11 is having number 1 for both placements. Likewise, number 22 having number 2 for both placements. Number 33 is having number 3 for both placements, and 44 is having number 4 for both placements. These are the only quadruple double digit numbers which are of such feature as same digit being available for the both digit placements for the both digits of these double digit numbers. Further, the upper line 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, and 09 is constituting reflection pairs with the lowest row, diagonal row 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. These nine reflection pairs of the upper line 01 to 09 along with the diagonal line 10 to 90 together with the quadruple double digit numbers 11, 22, 33, 44 as a set of 13 reflection pairs constitute a class themselves, and the remaining digits on either side the mirror line 11, 22, 33, 44 as well constitute reflection pairs 16 in number. It is this feature of this classification because of the mirror lines have their unique role to play as much as that this set of numbers as reflection pairs organized as 16 reflection pairs and as 13 reflection pairs. It is this feature of 16 reflection pairs as one class and 13 reflection pairs as another class is the feature which leads us to the organization of 16 sutras and 13 sutras as distinct classes. Further, these distinct classes as well having integration and coordination amongst themselves as is there because of mirror lines. It is this feature of this organization which brings us face to face with mirrors having been embedded in the artifices, the numbers. These mirrors playing their role in the organization of double digit numbers is the unique comprehension Vedic system. In fact, this organization of double digit numbers of the upper part of the 9 cross 11 grid is the format of the 13th chapter of the text of Shrimad Durga Saptashti. This way, the text of Shrimad Durga Saptashti, which is a scripture of 700 shlokas, shlokas, organized as 13 chapters, becomes the source Vedic mathematics scripture. This source Vedic mathematics scripture, in fact, is being availed for the applied values of Vedic mathematics and the values which make the discipline of Vedic mathematics and technology. Students, sadhakas, scholars, and intellectuals who are absorbed with the query as to what are the applied values of Vedic mathematics will visit the text of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita and the text of Shrimad Durga Saptashti, and they will be face to face with this unique attainment of our ancestors. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita and Shri Durga Saptashti are the scriptures of 700 cantos. The another scripture of 700 shlokas, cantos, is the Hriday Sthanam of Ayurveda. From here, one fact which glaringly emerges is that Vedic mathematics, as organized as 16 sutras and 13 sutras, is being the foundational mathematics for the organization of Vedic knowledge as pure and applied values of Vedic mathematics. Sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel with, to be face to face with Vedic mathematical systems for their pure and applied values visit the knowledge and enlightenment of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Durga Satsang, Hriday Sthanam, Ayurveda Sahita. This way, sequentially, while we shall be visiting the mathematical domains of Ganita Sutras and Ganita Upsutras as distinct domains, simultaneously being complemented in supplementary mathematical domains, then we shall be acquiring needed insight and required enlightenment. We shall be taking the text of Ganita Upsutras as independent contained scripture. And once we are approaching the text of Ganita Upsutras as an independent, self-sustained, self-contained, self-unfolding scripture, then it will take us to the values triple 16, 13, and 29. Value 29 as summation value of 16 and 13. That way makes value 29 as the common reference line. Value 29 is parallel with the TC value formulation. Lord Brahma creates the Supreme, the four-head Lord, as formulation Brahma leads to value 29. Therefore, for both mathematical domains of Ganita Sutras as well as for Ganita Sutras, we have to initiate ourselves within the reality or space presided by Lord Brahma, the Supreme. Ganita Sutras mathematical domain, Ganita Upsutras mathematical domain, both of them are the creations, manifestations, mathematical domains. Lord Brahma, creator the Supreme, manifests his own idol along the manifested creations of format of real space. The features of the idol of Lord Brahma take us to the values for the representative or regular body of space. Therefore, the initiation for the mathematical domains of sutras and sutras to be the initiation for having a reach from the features of idol of Lord Brahma to the values of We have to reach from the features of idol of Lord Brahma to the values. Lord Brahma is a four-headed Lord. Hypercube 4 is a four-space body. Lord Brahma has pair of eyes in each of his quadruple heads. Hypercube 4 two space role of a dimension. Lord Brahma sits comfortably on the lotus seat of 8 meters. Hypercube 4 is having a solid boundary of 8 components. Lord Brahma meditates within cavity of his own heart at the transcendental seat of Lord Shiva, the overlord of real five space. Five space plays the role of origin of four space. Once we stand so initiated and once we are face to face with these features and values, then the mathematical domain as it is takes us to the mathematical domain of hypercube 4. Therefore, a reach from 4 space to hypercube 4 and back from hypercube 4 to 4 becomes a two-way processing step of reach from pure values of 4 space mathematics to applied values of 4 space. Therefore, the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity efforts to be parallel with these values of Vedic mathematics, which takes us to the domain of a four space, four as its body. Once we glimpse it, once we are face to face with it, then our comprehension, our mental state, our intellectual comprehension of the solids will start melting. The linear order of a three space will of its own melt, and there will be a transition from linear order to a spatial order. Three space is a linear order space, as one space plays the role of dimension of a three space. So, three-dimensional frame, which is a setup of three linear axes, splits into a pair of three-dimensional frames. Therefore, the second initiation phase and stage for reach within the mathematical domain of Vedic mathematics, because Sutras and Upsutras is going to that three-dimensional frame of three linear axes in terms of which we are approaching our three space is in fact a three-dimensional frame of three linear axes is synthetic setup. This synthetic setup is a setup of a pair of three-dimensional frames of dimensions. The modern mathematics, as it is accepting dimension as a conceptual phenomenon, does not permit split. The split dimension is the comprehension, insight, enlightenment of the Vedic. All of us who are yet not familiar with split phenomenon of dimensional frames shall revisit the setup of in each of the corner points, in each of the 8 corner points of the cube is embedded a three-dimensional frame of dimensions. Let us visit, let us revisit, let us sit comfortably, let us permit the transcending mind to face to face with structural feature cube, our well-known body, the representative regular body with space. This representative regular body with three space is leading to the structural features prominent amongst them being that in each of the corner points of the cube is embedded a three of half dimensions. The orientations of all the three dimensions of the three-dimensional frame embedded in each of the 8 corner points are of inward setup. The orientations of each and every dimension of each and every dimensional frame of each and every corner of the cube is of inward orientation. It is towards the center. Therefore, at each of the corner point, as a seat of the origin of a three-dimensional frame makes a three-dimensional frame of half dimensions in a manifested form and another three-dimensional frame of complementary half dimensions remains in unmanifest form. Therefore, the manifest and unmanifest forms existing together, but both of them are playing their role differently. The manifest three-dimensional frame of half dimensions embedded in the corner of a cube with orientations towards the cube playing a manifested creations role for manifestations of the solids. The second half, a three-dimensional frame of half dimensions but in best form, is to play its role only in the manifest form, and that too for manifestation of the outer space. We shall be coming to this aspect afterwards, but for the present, it will be blissful to take note that this split of a three-dimensional frame into a pair of three-dimensional frames of different dimensions is the structural reality which is to be. This 12-edged cube is acquiring additional edge, the 13th edge, within 4 space because of the availability of the 4th dimension, which becomes format for dynamic state solids, three-dimensional bodies acquire dynamic state within 4 space because of the 4th dimension. It is this feature which as well deserves to be comprehended well. Now, let us revisit the split phenomenon of a three-dimensional frame. Three-dimensional frame, when splits into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half dimensions, it in a way amounts to the release of its origin. This phenomenon, as a setup of a three-dimensional frame of dimensions, leads us to value 33, a double-digit number, wields value 3 for both placements. It is this feature which is of its prominent role in the organization and settlement of Ganita Sutras, 13 in number. 12 as the cube acquires 13th edge within 4 space because of the availability of the fourth dimension. The split of a three-dimensional frame into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half dimensions is there because of the spatial order of 4 space. And this split of a three-dimensional frame into a pair of three-dimensional frames of half dimensions leads us to the parallel value 13, which avails same digit value for the both. Value 33 settles the distinct letters of the text of Ganita being 33. Therefore, sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel with mathematical domain of Ganita Sutras shall revisit the text of sutras and to reach at the frequencies of these 33 distinct letters availed for the composition of the text of 13 Ganita Upsutras. Here on the computer screen is the tabulation of these 33 distinct letters with their frequencies and the summation of the frequencies of all these 33 letters, which take us to text being the text of 236 letters. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well. In the next session, we shall be visiting this tabulation for the text of 13 of sutras as the text of 33 distinct letters of total frequency 36. This text is having one composite letter, Ya. This text is availing the geometric format of hypercube Varg. This text is availing the geometric format split of a three-dimensional body, the split of a three-dimensional frame, the transition and transformation for the linear order into a spatial order, the split, transition, and transcendence, the origin from the domain. It is this phenomenon of transcendence of an origin, split of a dimensional frame, and the mathematics of linear order transforming into the mathematics of spatial order. Sadhakas are fulfilled with intensity efforts to be parallel with the Vedic mathematics of the Ganita Upsutras shall revisit the setup of a cube, shall revisit the transition for the static dynamic, the transition for 12 as the cube to acquire 13th edge, the transition for a three-dimensional frame to split its form into a pair of three-dimensional frames and parallel to the split of three-dimensional frame into a pair of three-dimensional frames and a double-digit number value 30 over and above the setup of the cube, which has three-dimensional frame of dimensions embedded in each of the eight corner points and orientations of dimensions of these dimensional frames inward towards the center of the cube. The other unmanifest setup of eight three-dimensional frames of dimensions have to play their role for dimensionalizing the outer space. We shall be revisiting and continue comprehending more about these mathematical values of the mathematical domain. Thank you very much.